Well, good evening and welcome to the third Navigators in General coaching session with Simon Horsfield. Good evening, Simon.
Evening, Simon.
Another full house of races. So we're up to 9 races now. So first time in a long time that we've managed to get all races in. So great to see. But another fantastic event at Chase Sailing Club. Again, a very sunny. We seem to be blessed with sunny weather there, don't we?
We do, yeah, and it's the second year we've done the Polar Chase, and yeah, another successful one. As you say, we got the full complement of 2 races in. Firstly, a pursuit race, and then a classic trapezoid around the Cans race, Simon.
Yeah. So let's sort of have a quick canter through things. So perhaps a good starting at the results, and so you say two races. Familiar face at the back of the boat, but slightly different at the front for the winning Merlin Rocket.
Yeah. So Tom has, had a great start and has, ultimately won the first 3 events, which is, fantastic. And this time proving that it's not, it doesn't have to just be Rachel. We've managed to do it with Arran Holman as well, and a relatively new partnership. I'm not sure if they've sailed together, but certainly fantastic. Regardless, to hop into a boat and to then dominate both the pursuit race in the end and also the average lap race on.
Yeah, but I think it was perhaps closer than it actually looked. We're going to look in the detail. We had 2 straight bullets, but I think it was perhaps a bit closer than that. But incredibly close across the rest of the field, wasn't it? I mean, really, not much to split these. The next 5 or so, was it?
Yeah. No, and certainly it was really good to see the Zeniths going around there, and with some super competitive racing between Eden and Sam, and it also Andy, who led the pursuit race for quite a considerable period of time, and Tim Oling and I sat in the powerboat. We're pretty assured that actually Taxi was going to win the pursuit race, and he just got into a bit of a light patch towards the end of the race, which allowed Tom and Aaron to press. And quickly, get on terms with him, and we'll chat about that a little bit more. Later on. But
well, I think it's fair to say there's several national champions and world champions at the top of the field, hasn't there? I mean, Eden, I think, has won the Blazes, hasn't he? Sam's won the GP. Andy's won many championships, isn't he? I think he's the leading open sailor at the moment.
Yeah, and so and a strong field, and the top sailors have managed to find their way to the front, as they often do. And the benefit of the tracking and stuff that we have, you can review these sailors and see which way they went and where they made the gains and perhaps where you made the losses. So don't forget to use the tracker. It's a fabulous tool to see, to reflect and see why Tom and Aaron managed to pull away, and we'll look at that a little bit later on, Simon.
Right. Okay. So some great sunny pictures from Tim Olin. Nice to see that. So I guess look at the winds first. Well, lightest weekend that we've had, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and as I say, we were blessed with some sun, and the pursuit race started about 11, and run through to 12:30. We sailed in predominantly light breeze, so probably as low as 5 knots, but certainly no more than 10, probably around 8 knots ish was the average for that race, from my point of view in the powerboat anyway, and gradually building to some planing conditions, and trapezing weather for the average lap race, Sam.
But certainly lighter than we'd seen at Datchet and Draycote in on the windier days. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, Datchet was 20 gusting 30 at one point, but an average of 20. So yeah, it's been a great series so far, because we've had a variety of conditions. We've had some windy stuff, and now we've had some sunny and some lighter stuff. So giving everybody a chance.
Yeah. Right. So what are we going to look at tonight then, Simon?
So we're going to look at the pursuit race and some top tips to pursuit races. Now, you might think that's a little bit late in the day, but actually, if you are doing the whole series, we've got the Tiger Trophy and the Bloody Mary coming up in the new year, and hopefully, those tips will put you in good stead for those events moving forwards. I was looking around at several boats, and I've highlighted a 200, but I did spot it on a couple of other boats with bridles. What's the correct bridle length, and what's the impact of having it too long or too short? So we'll chat about that. The classic windward mark, what does good like and what does not so good look like? how key is it to get your spinnaker up and set? Clearly very, and how might we do that? And what options have you got when there's traffic at the leeward mark? What should you do? You know, what if you presented with 10 boats or 5 boats ahead? What should you do? And then really just a little review of the average lap race that Tom and Aaron won. Tom.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So let's move on. So this the pursuit race. So the first, we open with a pursuit race. So again, a bit of a change of format, but I think it's great to have the variety across the event. So we started with a 90-minute pursuit race.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, it's all about the preparation. So, you know, in terms of a pursuit race, you need to know how long it's going to run for. And in this case, it was 11 through to 12:30, so a 90-minute race. And it's really important, unless you're the topper, clearly, if you can find out who's starting 5 minutes or 3 minutes or even 1 minute before your start time, you can then get a start time and work off that. And it just keeps you engaged and thinking about the starting sequence, because the pursuit race is subtly different, you know, and you normally get a hooter on the minute every minute, but it just keeps you engaged with what's happening. So, you know, if there's an Enterprise going off and you're in a 2000, you might be 5 minutes behind it or something, and then that's a real good gauge for you to see what's happening and get yourself in the right mindset.
And we often do, unfortunately, see people starting in the wrong time, and people beat over the line, don't we? Which is really unnecessary.
It is, and it's just giving you by you know, having that 5 minute or 3 minute time ahead. It just makes, you know, you're thinking and you're seeing what time that boat's going off on, and if it's gone on the wrong time, if you've got a second boat, you can then clarify that, yeah, okay, he's gone off on the wrong time, but it's not going to affect me. But again, it's just getting you in the right mindset, knowing your time is key. I always, or you know, my wife and I, we always run two watches. So we've got the normal 5, 4, 1 go. We've taken our time off an Enterprise or whatever it happens to be, and then we've got a second watch with the correct time of the day. So and that's a really good, you know, we put it on for 11 o'clock, and then we know we've got 90 minutes to run. We can keep in tune with how much longer is left in the race, and that isn't really important until the last 5 minutes, when your tactics in the last 5 minutes are all going to be about, can I attack and get another place, or do I need to defend in order to keep the place I've got? So having that extra stopwatch is really helpful. Put it on the mast or on the boom where it's, you know, easily visible. It is a great top tip, I think.
Right. Okay.
So other things to consider is it's all about beating the clock when you're in a pursuit race. So keeping out of trouble. Don't try and, you know, get in attacking battle with another Ilka or another topper or an Enterprise or a 500 or whatever it is you may be in. It's all about being selfish, as I often say. You know, in this kind of racing, handicap racing and pursuit racing, it's about getting round the track as fast as possible and keeping out of trouble. And to that end, you need to manage your and plan your route as you're going around. So, you know, inevitably you will come to marks where there's lots of traffic. Do I slow my boat down, which sounds counterintuitive, in order to let the mayhem ahead of me go past and allow me to have a nice rounding? Or do I go to leeward and round the outside if I'm in a faster boat? So just thinking about how I might attack the next leeward mark, the next windward mark, the next wing mark. And if you're thinking like that, you're probably going to make the right decisions. It's when you arrive at the mark, having not prepared, you end up in traffic and then quite frustrated, which we often see from the powerboat. Last couple of things really, clean air is the key. So if you're in dirty air for any more than 5 or 10 seconds, you need to be doing something about it. And if not, you're going to be losing potential boat speed. And I've already mentioned when to attack and when to defend, Simon.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So we've got a bit. So this is a bit of a speeded up of the. Let me just pause that. So for a long time, the topper was leading. Sole topper. They made a miracle, and eventually, I think after about 45 minutes, Taxi in the OK gets in the lead, and it looked like he was going to carry on to the finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was sailing the OK fantastically and was really in the groove. And I think Tim and I in the powerboat were pretty sure that they were going to hold on, and we were tracking the Merlin, which was moving forwards all the time, but the gap between the OK and the Merlin was pretty steady, and Taxi just sailed into a bit of a light spot, which allowed Tom and Arran to close up, and they got
so they got in there within a few minutes to go. So literally we'll come and look at this instant in a moment, but Taxi put a very good battle out on, didn't he, in terms of holding it off? And
he did. He absolutely nailed the. Well, I've got to defend here, and I'm not going to make it. I had a chat with him afterwards. I'm not going to make it easy for them. So put on a really good defence and a great example of what you can potentially try and do. Now, unfortunately for the Andy in the OK wasn't able to hold the Merlin off, but did all the right things and give himself every opportunity, of winning.
So let's look at the video of that, because that sort of shows a good story going on. So here we are. This is Taxi just about still in the lead. About a couple of minutes to go, I think. So he's still got it, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's probably in the last 5 minutes, and we're coming down to the leeward mark here. So Taxi just trying to keep the inside overlap for the approaching leeward mark.
He's a bit more manoeuvrable, isn't he? Got a bit of an advantage, isn't he?
Yeah, because the Merlin's obviously restricted by the spinnaker, so the OK's fully aware of that, and he's just trying to keep on the inside here.
He's just using it. Yes.
Unfortunately, the boat speed of the Merlin just managed to get around the outside as we come into the leeward gate, and then Tom and in the Merlin just managed.
Close, isn't it? I mean,
it is really close.
At the overlap there, aren't they?
Yeah, it's super close. And of course, now we're going up the beat, and less than 5 minutes to go. It becomes a bit of a tacking duel.
Just play that again, really, because I think it almost looks like he had it in it. And I think he probably had the pace on upwind, didn't he, in terms of Andy? Yeah,
absolutely. I think if he'd have got to the leeward mark, it may have been a different outcome. But unfortunately, so close, the Merlin just snuck by. And it was fantastic to watch. And
I think it just great boat handling, wasn't it? Here they kept the boat driving.
Yeah, absolutely. And both of these people are sailing fantastically, or both sailing fantastically well. And really good for us to manage to capture.
Because a little spinnaker, flog, then it would have been a different outcome, wouldn't it? I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think if we hadn't have been a bit more pressure down one of the reaches, the OK would have got it. That's how close it was. And actually, what you don't see on here is he goes around the windward mark. The Merlin does get a bit of a planing gust and actually opens up a bit of a lead, but that's not a reflection of how tight it was. Yeah. Really fantastic pursuit race and lots of lead changes. We had the Topper, we had the Miracle leading, then the OK. At one point,
so several up there. Right. Okay. So what are we going to look at there? RS200s.
Yeah, so just having a look at the 200 here, and there were several boats. This was applicable to. I'm just using the 200 as an example here. So, firstly, 200. It's got a little bit of leeward here on wake forwards, and it's being sailed really nicely. So, just drilling into how could you make that boat go a little bit quicker? What options have you got? And the key thing with a 200, a 2000, a 500, to name a few, is the bridle. Okay, which is at the back of the boat. So what you're trying to achieve in light winds is having the main sheet block and the bridle touching. So if you just roll on to the next slide, Simon, you'll see I've just highlighted this with a couple of arrows. So you can see here the gap is probably sort of like 9, maybe 10 inches between the boom block and the bridle block. So why is this a problem? Well, to keep the boom on the center line, you need to pull the boom in, and because there's a gap between the two blocks, to get it in you will have to pull the boom down, and if you pull the boom down you bend the mast, which ultimately flattens the mainsail, which when you flatten it, it will depower it and make it less effective. And if you can see from the picture here, it's super light wind, so we don't want to bend the mast to keep the boom on the center line. So what we do is we raise the bridle higher, so the two blocks are almost touching, or virtually touching, so the boom comes in and out horizontally and it doesn't bend the mast. So what's the solution here? Have the bridle longer so the boom can come in and out horizontally and not be put down. And if you look at this other 200, this was taken from the Draycote Dash the year before, and you can see how close the blocks are to the bridle. So a longer bridle with the blocks touching keeps the boom on the center line with no induced mass bend. And this is the setup you want for maximum power. So rewinding back to the Polar Chase 200, just needs to raise that bar, and it's super easy to do with an adjustable dynamo splice, which we've got. And it's just thinking about that. How can I go that a little bit faster? So yeah, what looks a fantastic pitch here, you know, on close, you know, scrutiny, could be going a little bit quicker by having a longer bridle, Simon.
Yeah. Okay. Can you adjust the bridle, or is it just something you just?
Yeah, it's adjustable. There's two different methods on a 200. You can have one which say self-centering, or you can do it the traditional way with two very simple Chinese, you know, splices. Super easy to adjust.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So that's the bridle. Always check your bridle, and if the conditions are increasing, then you know you get the bridle lower. So just remember with the bridle, the windier it is, the less important it is. You have it shorter, the lighter it is, and the longer it needs to be.
Right. Okay. So we're gonna to the windward mark. Little video to look at.
Yeah, so I think on all of our debriefs, Simon, we've always featured the windward mark, and it, you know, we see the same issues week in, week out, and I'm sure it'll continue. But just thinking about when you're going up the beat to the windward mark, how can I get inside the shift lines so I'm not exposed on the starboard lay line where many a boat will stack up? And the impact of that is you'll be in dirty air and struggling to get to the windward mark. So just try to get to the, you know, into the middle a little bit more on your approach to the windward mark. And as you watch this video here, you'll see the impact of all the boats that are stacked up on the starboard line. So we've got a plethora of boats here. We've got a contender that's coming in on port, and then a plethora of boats that are coming in from the right. And to be fair, the right never really paid all day coming into the windward mark. So it was always better to be up the middle or to the left. So all these boats, in effect, end up reaching into the windward mark in this case. And it's very, very, very slow. So just be aware, you know, can I get inside the shift lines? So ideally, maybe approach from port, and then when you tack on starboard like this contender does, he's only got 2 or 3 boat lengths before he's rounding the windward mark, and it just makes for a much faster approach to windward mark. So we often see it, well, we see it every week. This, and if we watch the next clip afterwards here in a moment, you'll see Tom and Aaron here in the red Merlin coming in, and coming in on the port lay. They've gone out left, they've come on the port lay with several other boats. They've got 2 boat lengths to tack in. They are the lead boat, so they've got all the options. But this is the kind of approach that you want. And you know, there's no extra distance being sailed around this course. It's absolutely on the money, as are the boats that are coming in from behind. They've just not got the better start. You know, Tom and Aaron won the start here, and therefore that's why they're ahead. But the Phantom, Wellsail Phantom, and Osprey doing all the right things as well. So that's just the difference, really. You're minimising the risk by sailing more in the middle when you get to the top of the windward mark.
Yeah. Oh, he hit the mark.
Yeah. So there was a little bit of shouting, which you can't hear on here.
Okay, well, he did his turn. So
he did his turn. So
I think that's John Tailby in the Phantom, isn't it? So who ended up in the top 10. So
absolutely, all very fair.
Good to see that. Right. Okay. So what are we looking at now? And this one's spinnaker hoist.
So again, this was just one example here, and we'll just play this through, and I'll just chat over it. But we've gone round in this 200, and you know there was many boats doing the same. It was super light, so the boat's gone round the windward mark. And again, I'm not singling out this 200; it's just one example of many. And we've gone down here, and this video clip is 23 seconds long, and then I stop it. So, and you'll notice the kite isn't filled after 23 seconds. So the kite should be filled within 3 seconds, maybe 5 on the outside. So how can we achieve that? Well, unfortunately for us helms, it's probably more down to us, because once the spinnaker is up, we need to steer the boat towards the breeze to present the kite to the wind. Once it's then filling, we can then bear away onto the run line, which is where we want to go. So Helmy has done a good job. He's pointed straight at the mark that we wants to go to. However, what he's not done is got the crew out and got the kite filled. So, what does the helm need to do? Simply point up, get the kite filled, get the boat speed on, and then move down. And as he bears away, in this case, he can work with the crew on communication. So what's key, and what I always do in my boat, is we have three sort of like sayings: good pressure, losing pressure, no pressure. And what you do is you steer the boat as the helm to whatever the crew is suggesting. So here, no pressure, we need to head up. Good pressure, we need to bear away. And it's that constant communication, Simon, that is key.
Yeah, good. Right, okay. And there's the leeward mark. Play the video. Yes.
Perfect, here's great. So here we've got a lark coming into the leeward mark, and firstly, the lark was being sold fantastically well, and a great drop here. Nice rounding. You can see the gap between the leeward mark and the bow. A little bit of leeward heel as they come around. Flatten the boat as soon as possible, and away they go. Well done. And then as the boats come around me, you've got taxi here in the OK, and we've got the 600 going around the outside. Two very different boats I'll come back to in a minute. But you can see we've got the third boat, which I think is a Phantom, has tacked off. The Contender carries on. And there we go, coming around as we go. So what do you do? Well, and we'll play this round again in a moment. So as the first boat comes round the lark, he's got all the options in the world. Does he stay on? Does he tack off? Well, that will depend on what the wind's doing. And if he's got all the options. The second boat behind, which in this case is the OK, they've got a couple of options. He either tries to outpoint the lark, which is possible, I would suggest, and Andy actually stays on. But if he couldn't do that, he would have to tack off to get clean air. So as the lark goes around here, yeah, that's great. They can do whatever they want to do. And as I say, Andy here has got to make a decision. Andy actually stays on here, as we've already seen. But if he can't get a lane, he might choose to go high. The Phantom, thinking, well, there's no chance of me getting over top of the OK, tacks off immediately to maximise the opportunity for clean air. Good decision. And you probably saw the 600, which is the fastest boat, has choose a completely different route, and he's gone low because he can't outpoint any of them, and has gone fast and out of dirty air quickly. So the 600 probably does the right thing. The Phantom does the right thing, and Andy in the OK has managed to get a clear lane. At the end here, you can see the Miracle has probably tacked at the wrong point, and is in dirty air. So we'll just watch it one more time, and you'll see that. So what's going on here, Simon?
Yeah, no, some good learning points.
This is a typical leeward mark, and again, you can sort of like plan ahead as you come into this mark. You can plan, well, what am I going to do as I get there? So I'll just let it play for a moment. So a 600 faster boat round the outside, gone low, getting out of trouble. Thank you very much. I mentioned Phantom tacks on the Contender. He's just going to decide to crack on. So the Zenith is now going to tack off when doing exactly the right thing. But the Miracle decides to tack here. What the Miracle should have done is sail on for 2 or 3 boat lengths, get to windward of the Zenith, and then tack. And it's just about thinking about those kind of things. So in that situation there, lots of good and lots of things that you could do to develop or think about. So really important, which is going to set you up for a good windward leg.
Okay, so look at the average lap of tracking in.
Yeah, so a little bit more breeze now. I think the breeze got up to about 14 knots in this race. So it was up and down. Sometimes it was down at 10, and then, excuse me, sometimes it's up to 14. So lots of boats planing around, especially on the bottom reach, which looked really good, certainly from where I was sitting. Yeah. So, excuse me, we've tracked the Merlin here, and the Merlin started on the pin end with the Phantom, and they went out left. And interestingly, I think Richard's actually on the call here. Richard Bottom, he went out right, and it was very interesting to see, going out right looked really good at the start, but when you came back in at the windward mark, you ended up on this long approach, which wasn't very good. So the way to go, it seemed, from the front runners was to go left, Simon, and come in on the port approach.
Yeah, definitely left in the Merlin.
But as you watch this through, and you can see all the traffic, and you just froze it here. You know, if you look at the Merlin, it's always in minimal traffic, and when it is in traffic, it's to windward and clean air of the traffic. So, you know, really worth just watching back and highlighting Tom and Aaron, and just watching the route they took. So we kept the boat moving, and we're never ever stuck in any traffic. And the result of that, you know, was winning the average lap race.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So we've now got 3 events done. So rankings are starting to take shape. No surprise that Tom and crew, Rachel and Aaron, are leading. But then very close after that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, and it's early days, because, you know, as we go into some of the big events where you'll get more than 100 boats, certainly at the Bloody Mary and the Tiger Trophy, then, you know, there's still opportunity for a change moving forward. So lots to play for moving forwards in the remaining 5 or so.
Four to qualify, and we've got 5 to go. So and Tom and Rachel are now away, I think, until the Tiger Trophy, aren't they? So still chance for anyone, really. Well, anyone who we haven't even seen yet could pop up here and put some bullets in. Obviously, just to explain to people who might not know, is that we weight the events to the largest events, as I was explaining. So far, the Draycote Dash was the largest, and then the Flyer and the Chase were similar sort of sizes. So if you do well in a bigger event, you basically get a lower score.
Yeah, and as we always say, Simon, the more events you do, the more opportunity you've got, and you can then, you know, extract. You know, if you do all events, you can extract your worst scores and then put a really good series together.
Yes, I think. I mean, you've obviously won it 3 times. I think one of them you did win it on 4, just doing 4 events, didn't you? I think, remember.
Yeah,
so,
and
probably a bit nerve-wracking, I guess.
It is. It puts you under a lot of pressure, especially when you're on a bit of a roll and you've won 2 or 3, or you know, you think you've in the top 5 or top 10. And it does put the pressure on. So definitely, you know, what's the key to success? Do as many events as you can to give yourself a bit of a discard, and you'll definitely have a, you know, how often in a 4-race series do we need that one discard? And it's the same in this series. Yeah.
I mean, a couple of years ago, it was Ben Flower could have won, but he had his 4th event at Oxford, and literally it was going down mark to mark with Peter Gray and the Osprey. And it was almost at the last reach, but unfortunately Ben didn't have any discard. He had to count everything, so he could only get 2nd. Whereas, you know, with a discard in the bag, he probably would have won the series.
Yeah, very, very true. So yeah, the more you do, the better it is. But yeah, it's very tight behind, and yeah, lots to play for. So looking forward to seeing how that unfolds.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, just my sort of like lessons really from, you know, what Tim and I saw in the powerboat, where, you know, pursuit race top tips are, you know, keep out of trouble, but the bridle length, if it's light winds, is super important. And if you've got a bridle, just, you know, think about the impact. You know, have you got that set up for conditions? And if the wind increases, you might well need to drop that, and if the wind decreases, you might well need to raise it. And if you want any tips on that when I'm in the dinghy park, please come and speak to me, and I'll come and help you out. Windward mark approach. Don't go on the ley line to the windward mark for like half a mile, because you're at the mercy of whether the wind shifts left or right, and all those boats that are to windward of you will tack in front of you, and you'll end up having a really sad beat. So just think about, how can I keep more central when I get to the windward mark, and therefore minimize the amount of time I'm on the ley. Spinnaker hoisting. You've got to once the crew has got the kite up, you've got to point the boat towards the wind in the light stuff to get it filling. And at the leeward mark, think ahead. Where am I? Do I want to stay on? Do I want to tack off? What boats are around me? Do I need to slow down? Do I need to accelerate? Should I tack off? There's lots going on at the leeward mark, Sam.
Yeah, right. Okay. So just finally, we've obviously looked at the overall results, which is based on your event result. We then got the Magic Marine extracted rankings, and these are based on every race. So effectively, we're treating this as like a 21 race national championship, and then we're extracting them across every different sort of categories, from ages and types of boats, old boats and so forth. So in the slow asymmetric, I mean, we were looking at these two earlier, Alice Arundella and the RS200 are leading that. From the Luke and the RS Vario, Luke normally does very well. He's normally up sort of second and third, isn't not particularly having a good season this time, but he's up there consistently. And with 5 to go, good chance. And I think some of your colleagues, the 2000, isn't it, Jack and Abigail in the 2000.
Yeah, and it's, again, you know, these guys were all doing the events and are getting some good rankings together, and and I think it's great to see. And yeah, Luke's got off to the greatest start. I think he got disqualified in the second race at the weekend, but I'm sure you'll see that moving forward as the season progresses. Yeah,
so that's the slow asymmetric, and then just looking at the fast asymmetric. That's a regular here, Jonathan in the Vortex, Richard in the Musto Skiff, and we've got Nigel and on the call, haven't we, in the RS 500. So we're basically just recognizing that, you know, different types of boats, you know, have different sort of sweet spots. So we're just grouping their results together to allow a real comparison against similar sort of boats. But again, all very close, 43, 48, 49 points. There's nothing in it really, is there?
No, that's great.
Right. Okay. So finally, before we wrap up, some good questions. Got the Brass Monkey on 27th of December. So just sort of a Boxing Day type race, or Boxing Day +1. But great venue to go, isn't it? I think you've won there, have you, Simon?
I think I've been second up there, but it is a fantastic place to go. Always look forward to going there. Generally quite a windy venue, and I think it's the second highest place in the. Is it the second highest? Something like that.
It is very high. I think 1,000 whatever feet, meters, or whatever. So something above there, but you're going right up into the clouds, sometimes, or beyond the clouds. So you often get sort of you often start in a fog, don't you, and then pop through. You get there, and it's so high. There's very few trees, or any trees, so it normally gets a good sort of breeze. And then the club is very hospitable. They put a fantastic meal on for all the competitors, which is included in the entry fee. So you now do 2 races back to back, come in and have a nice winter meal, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And they'll try and do a trapezoid course, but you know, it depends upon a number of factors, whether the wind's in the right direction, and of course the water level of the reservoir. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
Yeah, and one just to point out, really, if you intend to go, it's well worth entering, well, before Christmas, because those things get shut down. A lot of people make it a bit of a Christmas break. I don't know, I see Nick Craze has entered. I can't remember, what is he in his fin this time? I think.
Yeah, I think it's in the fin. Yeah.
But some people make it a break, but great place to have. Right, before we wind up, I've got a few on the call. I don't know if anyone's got any specific questions in the audience. Your hand up, or? No, I don't think. Obviously covered it. We will be. This is recorded, so we'll put it back up on the event website so in the next day or so you can follow it. But thank you for joining us. We wish everyone a happy Christmas. Not long now, is it, Simon?
No, another week, and then we'll be back out, isn't it? So what we're on today. So yeah, 10 days, and we'll be out up at Yorkdale. So looking forward to that between the Christmas and New Year break. So look forward to seeing everybody there, and hopefully get some great conditions, and hope to see lots of boats there. Yeah, and then the following weekend we go into the Grafham Grand Prix. So it's quite a busy period, isn't it? And then the Bloody Mary. So we get really a sort of a bit of a break now, don't we? After the Polar Chase last weekend, and then Brass Monkey, Grafham Grand Prix, and the Bloody Mary, really in quick succession. So be interesting to see when we come back after Christmas how the rankings are all sort of changing. So I think because Tom and Rachel can't make the next few events, I think could be a bit of a shake-up, couldn't it, in their actions. Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of changes. It's quite close behind, so it'd be interesting to see how things shape up after Christmas. Okay. Well, good evening. That's just over half an hour. So thank you very much. Thanks, Simon.